Hi, everybody. Sorry, we're a couple minutes late here. We'll just wait for people to pop in and we will go ahead and get started very shortly. Great, lots of people joining. Welcome, good morning and good afternoon, everybody. Awesome. Okay, so let's go ahead and get started. Thanks so much to everybody for joining today. My name is Monica Velarde, and I have Katie Geelan, our product support team lead, here to present today's webinar to you all. Just a reminder, the webinar is being recorded, and we will send the recording out after the webinar is completed. Also, I'll keep everybody muted to reduce background noise. So if you have questions, please ask them via the Q&A. Section of the Zoom meeting. You'll see that right at the bottom of your screen. If we don't get to all questions during the webinar, I'll be sure to follow up with individuals afterwards. But with that, I will let Katie take it away.
All right, well, welcome. Thanks for joining today. Hopefully everything we share here today will kind of help you get started as a member with Quartzy. So today we'll be going over lab settings, the request module and the inventory module, shopping at the Quartzy shop, and then we'll have plenty of times for questions and answers. And like Monica mentioned, just use that Q&A feature or box to submit your questions. So let's go ahead and get started. So we'll start out here by just orienting you to your account and what you see on the main page when you log in. So notice your profile icon is in the upper right-hand corner here. This is where your profile settings are located, including email settings and frequencies and notifications. You have the link to the Help Center right here. It's actually where we keep all the recordings for webinars, as well as how-to videos, guides, and everything like that. This is going to be your lab shopping cart. And then over here on the left-hand side, this is going to be your lab selection menu. You'll click here, and this is your organization at the top. And nested beneath your organization is going to be all the labs that you're a member or admin in. So this is the request module. You're automatically on the request module when you log in here. This is kind of your lab's digital shopping list. It's going to be where your requests and orders are tracked. Then next to that, you have your inventory module. This is your lab's list of what's currently in stock, including where everything is located and all the important item data, such as lot numbers, locations, expiration dates, and all that kind of stuff. The shop tab here, that's going to be the easiest way to just find and request items that you want to order from Quartzy. So we can go over this a little bit later. And then lastly, we have the global search here. Searching here will actually allow you to search through all modules, the shop, request module, and inventory module all at the same time. So if we search that, see we have some search results in the shop. And then if we had added a request or inventory item for that item in the past, they would show up here as well. So next up, we'll go over how to view and manage your lab's details. In the top left corner, as I mentioned before, this is your lab selection menu. So I'll open the menu and then find the lab that I want to manage, and then I'll click that gear icon to get to the Manage Lab pages. So first up here is the members page. This is where you can see a list of your lab's current members as well as their role. So for instance, Andy here is an admin, and you can see members at the bottom here. These are just going to be in alphabetical order. And you can see the member and admin are the two roles that we have in labs. Some differences in these roles are permissions such as placing orders or editing lab settings. Those are for admins only. And we always have this little help doc at the bottom, which explains all the different permissions for each role. So next we can head over to lab settings here. On this page, you'll be able to view some basic settings such as inventory editing permissions. So for this setting here, who can edit inventory items in this lab? My lab says that any member in this lab can edit these inventory items. So that means I can usually make changes to the locations tab and the types tab, which we can go over later. Some labs, however, will have it set to only item owner and lab admins. And that would basically mean that I would only be able to edit items that I myself added. So we also have different settings like the preferred payment method. This is a good one to pay attention to for your lab, because it'll let you know how your admin is actually placing orders. So we have credit card, purchase order. Those are going to be pretty basic, very similar to any other e-commerce purchasing experience. And then the other e-procurement system. That method is much more common with universities that may have a purchasing department or purchasing system that they have to use to purchase through. So we're an approved vendor in a lot of those systems. And so if you have that selected, your lab will actually need to send in a PO to have your orders processed. So let's go back up here and check out these other tabs here. This approvals tab is actually new. It's a recent addition, so let's check this out. So this is where lab admins are going to be able to set up approval steps for your lab. So formerly, only lab admins had the ability to approve requests. Now, with this new change, lab members can also approve requests, especially say if you're set as a budget owner and a budget-based step is set up in your lab, you'll be able to approve any budgets that you own. So let me just go over the approval steps in this lab and what that may look like. So in the top section here, you can see that it's set to automatically approve requests that are below $50. So if I was to add something under $50, my request would actually skip any approval steps and it would go straight to the approve tab instead of the new tab like a usual request. So this next section is where they can add these budgets. In this lab, there are projects, but they can also be grant IDs or accounts or funds. And then they have set these owners as well. And so with this step where it says for requests with a budget, send an approval request to the budget owner. So that means if I were to add a request with project C, associated with project C, that request would need to go to Jonathan for approval. So let's head over to the request module and we can kind of look at what those requests look like. So I'll click that Q icon to get back to my home page. And you can see again that we're in the request module. So I have your search bar and filters on the left-hand side here. You can filter, you can toggle by Quartzy items only. And then you can filter by vendor, the requester, project, and again, in your lab, it may be different. It may say fund or grant ID. And then you can also filter by the type. For the new tab here, you can see there's a couple of different tabs. These tabs are going to be basically the status that the request is in at the moment. So this new tab is basically your lab's shopping list. So these requests have been recently submitted by someone in the lab and they're waiting to be approved. The approved tab here lists the requests that have gone through their approval flow but haven't yet been ordered. If your lab does not have an approval step, you won't see this tab. So like I said before, some labs just don't even have an approval step and their requests will just go straight from new to ordered without an approval. So the order tab lists the items that have been ordered and they're waiting to be received by the lab. From the order tab, requests wait to be delivered. And then once they've been received, someone in the lab will mark that request as received, and then it'll be added to the inventory as well. And anyone in the lab, member or admin, can mark a request as received, while only an admin can mark a request as ordered. The receive tab here lists the orders that have been through the full ordering and receiving process. So as an example, let's just take a look at one of these requests. To see all the items on a single request, just click the item name, and that'll open up an item detail panel. So first you'll have the request details here. So that's going to be basically the item details, size, and price. Below that, you're going to have order details. So that's going to be PO number, payments, tracking information, payment information, and stuff like that. You have a vendor section where you can add contact information, or if you have like maybe a sales rep that you work with, you can add their information there. And then beneath that, you're going to have a history section. That's going to be the most recent change, oldest change. So now we can go over how to add a request. So all we need to do is click this blue add request button, and that'll take us to an item lookup. So you can either enter a general term here. So I can just search something general. But if I know exactly what I'm looking for, I can come down here and search an exact item. So a few results will appear. The found in Quartzy shop, if you add a request using this result, it'll actually add a request as their Quartzy request, which means Quartzy is the vendor, and that'll be basically Quartzy will be the vendor for that item. The found in Sigma Aldrich results, this will add a non-Quartzy request, which means Sigma will be the vendor, and you'll have to or a lab admin will have to complete the purchase outside of Quartzy. That's usually used when maybe you have like special contracted pricing with the vendor and want to purchase that item through them instead. So let's say maybe we do want to buy this item through Quartzy. So I'll just select that first option here. I want to add some details first though. The type will always be defaulted to general supply, but of course I want this to be labeled as chemical. And then I want to add in a project. So this will be a project with my lab's project C. And then I can click request. And then as you saw that message, it's automatically approved since the price was below 50. Again, click on the item name to open the item detail panel. And let's say maybe I just realized that I actually need a quantity of 2 or 3. You can see that these options are grayed out. So I've already submitted this request, but I can always basically request a change from my lab admin. So here I might add a comment and tag my admin. So this way, Charles will receive an email with my request. And since he's an admin, he'll be able to make that change and update the quantity too. So let's also go over what happens when maybe the specific item you're wanting to purchase is not available to be purchased from Quartzy. So we'll go back to that blue add request button here. I'll search my item. You can see that the Quartzy shop results here. It specifically says found equivalent products. So we don't actually offer that exact product that I searched. So it gives me some other options here. But say, I definitely want to purchase that exact item. I'll just minimize those and then I can request that right here. So I'll enter my lab's price for this. Add that request. And then I'll be able to see that in the new tab. As you can see again, Quartzy has offered a quote on this for a similar item. I can choose to accept or could just completely ignore that quote. I have compare specs, and then you can also send a message to our life science product team if you have any specific product questions for that item. So accepting the quote will turn it into a Quartzy order. or a request for a Quartzy item. However, say maybe I change my mind, I want to actually, buy it from someone else, or I want to buy the original item that I had requested. I can easily do that just by clicking see original request and then clicking switch back. So again, it switched back to the non-Quartzy request, the original QIAGEN item, and then I can even hide that quote. So say you did, order this from QIAGEN. Once your lab admin did place an order for that item, as the requester, you'll receive an email with that information. So you'll be updated when the status is updated, if it's approved, if it's ordered, and when it's received. So now let's look at maybe what happens once an item is delivered to the lab. So let's go and find a request in the order tab here. So let's say that this blotting paper may have just been delivered to our lab. So we ordered 3 and we can actually see that 2 came in. As soon as we change that number, you'll see a box that says partial delivery. I'll go ahead and select that. And I also want to add this item to my inventory at the same time. So I'll make sure to select the correct amount that we received, and I'll add a location here. So Andy will, since he's the one that requested the item, they'll receive an email about this, and I can even add a comment if needed. And they'll receive that comment as well. So they'll receive all the information you see here, the amount that was received, the location that the item was put, the date, and everything like that. So just click save. Then we'll see that item in our the receive tab, as well as the inventory module. So you can see it's first up here in the inventory module. And maybe we want to add a few more items now that we're in our inventory module. So we'll just click that item to open up the item detail panel. And similar to the request item detail panel, it'll have the item information up here first. And then all extraneous information will be beneath. So you'll have location, type, any specs like technical details, or an expiration date. So if I wanted to add an expiration date, I can just go ahead and add one here. And then I can even set up an automatic reminder. So 1 month before this date, Andy, the owner, will receive just an email expiration reminder for this item. That way, if needed, they can go and add another request for this item to let the lab managers know that, we're out of this or it expired. Let's find another item. Let's say I just used up all of this for one of my experiments and we don't have any left. So I'll just need to update the amount in stock field to 0. And then one more step I like to take is to change the location to archive. So moving out of stock items to a single location, such as archive, it just makes it way easier to find all those items that the lab may need to order more of. So similar to the request module, the inventory module has a search bar and filter on the left-hand side. You can filter by location, type, vendor, and owner. So again, if we had filtered by archive, we can see all the items that we don't have any amount in stock for. And we can easily use these blue buttons here to re-request those items when we need more. So add a new request for the same item. And Monica, if any questions have come in, we can go ahead and answer those.
Yeah, so we did just get one related to marking items as received and what we get in the email notification. So the question is, you mentioned what info that goes on the received emails, but I do not see the location anywhere. We have to go to the inventory to see where it went. Is that normal, or do we need to change a setting? So it sounds like they're not seeing location in those email notifications. Do you know why that could be?
Besides maybe a bug, it could just be that when those items are marked as received, a location is not entered. So let me find one that has not. All right, so say we're adding it as a new item and this item's not already in our inventory. If I were to add this in inventory without this location info, that would be one reason why it's not received. However, I do believe that if there is location information entered here, that should be received in the email that updates you that your request was marked as received. And Monica, maybe you can correct me if I'm wrong, but I do believe that location information should be included, so we can look into that for you.
Yeah, I think that the location should definitely be included as long as it's selected. There's also a possibility somebody marks it as received. They don't select the location. Maybe they select the location later when they edit the inventory item. So you might see the location in the inventory, and that could be why it wasn't in the email. But if you are very commonly, every time something gets received, you are selecting a location and you are not seeing that in an email, sounds like something we would want to look into, because that should be happening. So if anybody's running into this, we did actually just get another question about this as well. Please send an email to support@quartzy.com and we can look into that more specifically with you to see if, maybe there's a bug, maybe there's something going on there. Yeah, those are the only questions we had at this time.
Alrighty. So I also want to go over the shop, kind of our last module here. So when you are on the shop main page, you'll see this search bar. And just note on the Quartzy shop, this is actually only available to labs within the US. If you are located outside the US, you actually won't see this shop tab here. It'll go straight from inventory to the search. But if you are in the US, you'll be able to purchase from the Quartzy shop. So I can just enter any kind of term here, any kind of search term. So let's say that I'm searching PBS for my lab. I'll enter that there. And we can see we have some search results. It's automatically sorted by best match, but you have the option to sort by price as well. So I'll leave it as is. And we can see these results have a couple of different looks here. These say ships from Quartzy. So Quartzy has two of its own fulfillment centers, one in New Jersey and one in California. The ships from Quartzy message means that these items will be coming from one of our fulfillment centers. When a result does not have that message, so for instance, there's one with one and one without, this item is drop shipped straight to your lab from one of our partner warehouses. So we are partnered with Caisson, and so we place the order with Caisson, and that order is drop shipped directly from Caisson to your lab. So again, we come back up here, we have all these standard item specs and everything like that, estimated delivery. If you click on the item name, it brings you to a product page with a good bit more info. So you can see that here. We have all the specs here. You can go to the vendor site, and then you can even play around with different zip codes if you have different locations to see when that might arrive to your lab. And if it was available, you would be able to select a overnight shipping speed, see when that would arrive. We have a couple of different options there. And so again, You can easily add an item, or I'm sorry, add a request from there. And that'll go to your new tab. Right. And that's about the last thing that I had to show you guys for today. So if there are any questions or anything that you guys would like to go over, I can definitely go over, some more lab settings or anything like that. Monica, did any other questions come in?
Yeah, one just came through the chat. They ask, how do I pay for orders?
Okay, yeah, so that's going to be more of a lab admin setting. As a member, you won't actually be able to place an order. You can see pending orders and you can request for orders to be placed, but only admins are actually able to place an order. As a member, you can always see what your lab is set up to pay by. So I can go and see that, my lab pays via credit card, and I can go to my lab shopping cart and see the pending orders, but I'm just not able to check out.
So what if they are an admin, just in case?
Yeah, actually, let's see if I believe I'm admin in this lab. Do we have any items there? I don't have a good example here, but yeah, basically, if you were an admin, you'd click checkout, and then you'd just be, you'd go through a very basic, e-commerce checkout experience where you enter your payment information, your billing address, shipping address, and the emails that you would like to get the notifications for those orders. So any emails that you want to include in the order confirmation and shipping notifications and stuff like that, you'll be able to enter that information as well. But again, all requesters, depending on their email notification settings, will be receiving, updates on their requests anyways. So we can go see what that looks like here as well. So email settings, status is updated on my request. So any request that I add, I can select to, immediately receive notifications when the status is updated, or maybe I just want one email daily for all the updates on my request. I can select those here. And then obviously these are lab admin settings. Let me go back to my member settings here. So this will always be never for a member. So this would be just your basic information, resetting your password, email settings, and then credit cards. Again, this is going to be only for lab admins. And were there any others that came in?
Yep, one more I'm seeing come in. Let's see, so could you add several requests from the same vendor at the same time, or do you need to add every item as a new request?
So if you're ordering from Quartzy, you definitely do have to order them enter one request for each item. You always could maybe have like a bulk request where you maybe have an Excel sheet. That's more common maybe with like primers and oligo orders, where you would have like an Excel sheet with all the primers you would like to order, and that would go to one request. Otherwise, I definitely recommend for everyone to have one single request for each item. That way they can be like, it's way easier to track a single item and where that is. Maybe one item has been delivered and the other hasn't. So I definitely recommend just one item per request.
All right, no more open questions, but we'll give everybody the opportunity. If there are any other questions, please ask them now. Anything else you want to show everybody, Katie, while we have this last couple minutes?
Yeah, we can definitely go over some more lab management type of stuff. So again, if your lab settings, you see that everyone in the lab can edit inventory items, you'll be able to edit locations and types. So in the types, we have, these are basically categories for our items. You can select a type for both requests and inventory. In the inventory, you'll be able to also fill out all the type-specific fields. So these will all be found in inventory. They won't be found in the request. But I can select or I can edit these by clicking the pencil icon. So let's say I wanted to remove some options or even add an option. I could do that from here. I can even add a type. You can see it comes with some custom fields already, and you can always add them. We go over to locations. It's going to be basically, where everything is kept, like such as a freezer. So we have a freezer set up here, and then we have freezer boxes. So these are sublocations. Sublocations can be set up as freezer box or as a shelf or rack. So you can see these 9x9. That means it's in a freezer box. We can click on this grid icon to open that freezer box and kind of see the item information. And then we can also edit that freezer box. So maybe this freezer box is actually 10x10. You make that change. And again, if I wanted to add my own location, that way, if maybe my requests come in and I just want everything to be, delivered directly to my bench, they can set that as the location for any items that they are marking as received for me. And see our vendors tab, again, you can just store some contact information that might be useful. You can add vendors. Backups is useful. You can sign up to get last month's spend report. So this is going to be delivered to you monthly. It'll have all the labs you're in, an email with all the backups from that month. Your inventory backup, it can be sent weekly or monthly as well. So again, this will be for all the labs that you're a member in. You'll receive a file with the full inventory file for each of those labs. This makes it easy. So maybe if some changes are made in error or items are deleted by mistake, you can always revert to the most recent version here. You can kind of see what this looks like. So it's going to be all like my lab's most recent version on as of February 20th. All right. Were there any other questions that had come in?
No other questions. So I think with that, we will wrap it up. Thanks so much to everybody for joining today. We will be sending out this recording shortly, yeah, feel free to send us any questions. Yeah, Kate, I don't know if you have any more slides to go through there. Yeah, perfect.
Yeah, just our little email address, email us at any time. I'll also, Monica and I will send out an email after with a couple of different help docs and the webinar recording. Just some help docs for resources that we went over today, just so you can bookmark them for reference. And yeah, thank you so much for coming.
Yeah, hope everybody has a great rest of their day. Thanks.